Okay, let's unpack this. You know that saying the Marines have at Paris Island? Let's be damn sure that no boy's ghost will ever say, if your training program had only done its job.
That hits hard.
It really does. That idea of absolute preparation. And you think about it, even today, things can still come down to the wire, right? To close quarters.
And what's fascinating here is that connection, that powerful motto, and what we're diving into. It's all about giving someone the basic tools, the essential skills for survival, even in the most, well, direct and brutal conflicts.
Exactly. Because today, we're plunging headfirst into something maybe a bit unexpected. The Principles of Close Combat from the Cold Steel Manual by John Styers.
Yeah, a book originally for fighting men.
Right. But digging into it, there's some surprisingly raw, maybe even timeless insights into human conflict, self-preservation.
And it's important, to understand the context up front. The publisher even put a warning on it.
They did.
Yeah, and Styers himself talks about the brutality inherent in warfare in his preface. So this deep dive isn't about like glorifying violence.
No, absolutely not. It's about understanding a historical skill set, something that in certain extreme situations was considered necessary.
Right, a historical
So
perspective.
we're not talking your average self-defense class. This manual goes deep. Bayonet fighting, knife fighting.
Unarmed combat, even stick fighting,
I
all
know.
drawn straight from the source material the listeners provided.
So the mission for the listener today, let's try to pull out the core principles, the techniques from this manual. It's going to be, well, a unique look, maybe unsettling.
A very immediate personal form of combat.
All right, let's start with something ancient, really. The bayonet, Styers points out, it's basically been the same for 300 years.
Pretty much a pike, isn't it? Designed to stick your opponent before he sticks you. Simple objective.
And right away, he emphasizes aggressive action. That's the key, he says.
Hmm.
Gain the advantage.
Instantly, knock their weapon aside, then a kill with simple, fast, accurate movements. He's clearly distinguishing it from older, maybe more intricate fencing styles.
Right, no fancy stuff. He gets straight into the guard position, for righties anyway. Lefties reverse it, obviously.
Describe that position.
Okay, so picture a balanced crouch, feet sort of diagonal. The rifle, he calls it the piece, is angled, blade out. Left hand on the upper hand guard.
Just above the sling swivel.
Exactly. Right hand gripping the small of the stock. And the key thing, the bayonet point is level with the opponent's eyes. Always ready.
And the blade itself, he's specific about that too.
Yeah, cutting edge in line with your forearm, held vertically. Why vertical?
He says it gives more strength for the beat striking their weapon aside. More steel behind the impact. Makes sense.
It does. Left foot forward.
Yeah,
The main takeaway is you're always on guard. Just shift your weight and you're engaged.
instantly.
Now, the core attack, the beat thrust.
Hmm.
Walk us through that.
Okay, the beat thrust. It's fundamental. You close the distance fast, right? And while you're moving, you use your body weight
The whole body.
to give their blade a sharp rap, knock it aside. And then immediately, you follow through with a thrust. No pause.
And the point naturally drops a bit then, lining up with the upper chest or throat.
Yeah.
Those vulnerable spots.
Exactly. But he does mention a common mistake, especially at first.
Overshooting the beat. Swinging too far across.
Yeah, that tendency to really want to make sure their blade is out of the way. But in a fight, fractions of a second matter.
If you overshoot, you have to recover. Maybe whip back for a cut before you can thrust again. Leaves you open.
Even for a moment, it's critical. But he has this great analogy about how easy the beat actually is.
Oh, the one with the strong man and the finger.
That's the one. Get the strongest guy, give him a rifle and bayonet in the guard position, and then, just with your index finger, try moving his blade. Styers claims you can move it in a complete circle.
Seriously. With one finger.
His point is, if a finger can do that, imagine the force of your whole rifle hitting their blade. It reframes it, doesn't it?
Totally. And he says, focus on their blade. Don't worry about how long their weapon is. Longer might even be easier to lever aside.
Right, attack the blade. It's a psychological thing, too. Focus on the actionable target, not the scary length. He even mentions this guard works fine with a shorter carbine.
Okay, but what if a beat isn't practical? Say their blade is too low.
That's where the throw point comes in. It's a more direct attack for when the beat isn't feasible.
How does that work?
You basically just snap the whole weapon forward. Full power from the right arm.
Like a jab.
Exactly. Your left hand guides it, but releases its grip for that full extension, aiming for an exposed throat or chest.
And he says it's good against guys already running.
Particularly effective, yeah. Then immediate recovery back to guard. Always back to guard.
crucial.
Yeah.
He does note the long throw point is more for carbines, the standard M1 rifle being pretty long already.
Right.
Now, there's also this carryover from swordplay, the hand cut.
Ah, yes, the hand cut. It's pretty brutal. Target is specifically the opponent's left hand, the one supporting their rifle.
And he says, don't use the point.
No, use the cutting edge. Bring it down sharply on their hand. The goal. Sever fingers.
Grim logic there. Cripple them, then finish them easier with a thrust.
Harsh, but effective in that context. He mentions you could use a throw point for this, but a good beat cut is probably better, more decisive.
Okay, what about hitting them with the rifle itself, the butt stroke? Styers seems a bit hesitant about it.
He is. Very clear, the blade is more valuable. Butt strokes can damage your rifle, your primary shooting weapon.
Keep the rifle working, get blood on the blade, that's the ideal.
Precisely. But he does describe one specific situation for a butt stroke.
When your thrust gets blocked upwards.
Exactly. If they block your beat thrust by forcing your bayonet up high with theirs,
Then their groin is wide open.
completely exposed. And that's the target for the prescribed butt stroke. Hard, direct. And the target being soft means less risk to your rifle.
Okay, now it gets really intense. Locked pieces. What if the beat fails and your bayonets get tangled?
Yeah, this is where thinking instantly is key.
Wow.
He gives a few options. One is to just rapidly bounce your blade against theirs.
Trying to maneuver.
Right, trying to get an angle to slice or chop at their fingers sounds incredibly risky for both people.
Definitely. What else?
You could slightly release pressure, try to guide their blade over to your left, their weak side usually, then suddenly whip your blade around for a surprise thrust or a hand cut, maybe even a head cut. Exploit that momentary opening.
Always exploiting weakness. What if you're locked up really close?
Bayonets tangled tight, no separation. He says close right in, drop down low.
Get under them.
Yeah, and then work your point back and forth using your body, your legs swinging while your arms stay pretty much locked. And crucially,
Don't forget your feet and knees.
exactly,
Yeah.
use them. Attack their instep, shin, knee, or, yeah, the groin again.
Brutal reality. Survival. So when you do get an opening for a thrust, what are the main targets?
He's very direct. Throat, center of the chest, major veins, arteries clustered there, not much protection.
A few inches of blade can be fatal.
Instantly. And he specifically debunks that myth about the blade getting stuck on bone in the chest. Says it's mostly cartilage, thin bone, easy to penetrate.
But don't go too deep. Avoid the shoulder blades.
Right. Don't want to get tangled.
Okay, what about defense? He details this move, the inquartada or out of line.
That's the only purely defensive move he describes for the bayonet. It's specifically for when someone's charging straight at you.
How does it work?
You wait till they're almost in range, then snap your whole body left, pivot sharp on your left foot, use your right leg to push yourself across and behind that pivot point.
A complete spin, basically. Takes your body out of their path.
Exactly. They just run past where you were.
And your bayonet.
As you spin, your point naturally swings into their path. You can thrust as they go by or just leave the blade there. Their own momentum carries them onto it.
Using their aggression against them. Clever. He also really emphasizes yelling during an attack. Sounds primal.
He says a loud shout right at the moment of attack can distract them, break their focus.
And it tenses your muscles.
Yeah, he claims it physically hardens your stomach and chest muscles, adds to the power of your attack. Interesting theory.
It is. And the volt. What's that? Sounds like fencing.
It's basically a quick change of direction, a leaping pivot. Jump, rotate, land back in the guard position facing the new threat. He says with practice, it's fast and effective.
Okay, finally, he wraps up the bayonet part with some key notes. What are the big takeaways?
First, and maybe most important, shoot if you can. The bayonet is secondary, always.
Makes sense.
Then master the fundamentals. Practice, practice, practice. Stay relaxed mentally and physically so you can react fast.
Relaxed in that situation.
Wow, easier said than done, I imagine. And he even suggests practicing pulling your punch during the beat.
To avoid overshooting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Learn to stop the movement right when the point is aligned. Nail that timing.
All right, shifting gears. From the reach of the bayonet to something much closer, more personal, knife fighting. Styers calls it ugly business.
He really doesn't mince words. Steel against steel, then steel against flesh and death. Stark.
In that line, you cannot requisition an enemy's blood. Wow. Sets the tone, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He paints this picture, being alone, relying solely on your knife, and the confidence that knowing these techniques gives you.
Yeah, then he throws you into that scenario, enemy with two knives aimed at you. But you snap into the guard and it stops him. Cold.
That immediate assumption of the correct stance is a weapon in itself.
Walk us through the rest of that encounter he describes. It's intense.
Okay, so you advance cautiously, knife point never leaving their throat,
Yep.
target their extended hands first, then bam, a fast full cut like a cobra striking, he says, snap right back to guard.
One knife drops, maybe some fingers too.
Then you use a split second, scoop up dirt, blades still fixed on their throat. They charge, enraged.
You throw the dirt in their face? Yeah. Execute a quick incortada, yell loudly to startle them, and as they stumble past...
Fatal thrust to the heart.
Brutal, but effective sequence. And his point is, you don't need to be some martial arts guru.
Just know the principles. Practice them.
Exactly. He links it to swordsmanship, even mentions James Bowie, iconic.
So let's get foundational. Holding the knife. How does he say to do it?
Very specific.
Yeah.
Hold it straight, no cocked wrist, thumb on top, same side as the flat edge, so cutting edge is down.
Okay.
Fingers clamp up firmly, wrist locked, straight line with elbow and point. Knife becomes an extension of your forearm.
Like part of your arm.
And thumb base slightly off the guard, about a 1/4 inch, to absorb shock on impact.
Got it. And key tips for that grip.
3 main ones. Locked wrist, always. No arching your thumb up onto the guard.
Yeah.
And keep the blade aligned with the forearm. Power and control.
Okay, the stance. Derived from swordsmanship, but modified for knife fighting. Tell us about the base saber stance.
Right. It starts formal. Attention stance, left face, close interval, dress right. Point your right foot at the opponent. Step forward about 2 feet.
Right forearm up.
Yeah. Knife point threatening their throat. Elbow about 6 inches forward of your hip. Knees bent slightly. Right leg mostly straight. Ready to move.
Cutting edge down and slightly right. Wrist locked, upper body erect.
Allows easy forward-back movement. Lateral is a bit harder in this specific stance.
So how do you shift from that saber stance to the actual knife duelist stance, the fighting guard?
The big change is the rear foot. Move it maybe 1 or 2 feet left off that direct line to the opponent.
Creates a 90-degree angle with the front foot.
Exactly. Much more stable. Allows movement in all directions, forward, back, sideways. At the same time, pull your knife arm back closer to your body.
Why closer than in saber fighting?
No hand guard on a knife. Need to protect that hand. Square your shoulders to the opponent. Free left arm swings naturally for balance, maybe defense.
Body relaxed, except.
Locked wrist. Taut thighs. Ready for explosive movement.
And again, crucial tips for this duelist stance.
He hammers these home. 90-degree feet for stability. Blades drawn in for protection. Square shoulders. Erect torso and head. Free arm control. And always, blade points at their throat.
Practice till it's instant. On guard. Snap right into it.
Without thinking. Muscle memory.
Okay, the thrust. Explosive forward movement from the guard.
Direct to the target. Free arm whips back hard for power, velocity, no tells, no preliminary movement. Just snap it out there.
Straight line to the throat.
And your body pivots naturally, presenting a narrow profile, not your whole chest. Don't lean or push, he warns. It's all about speed.
Speed is everything. He compares the poised blade to a leveled pistol.
Yeah, point is the bullet. A good thrust in range, they won't even see it before it hits. Just a blur.
And the only real defense against that speed?
Don't be there. Which brings us back to distance.
Paramount. Your insurance policy, he calls it. Keeps you safe, but keeps them in your range.
Especially with a Bowie knife. That extra reach, maybe 18 to 24 inches, is a huge advantage.
And vital tips for the thrust. The whip action if you miss, hand position knuckles up, thumb left, slight downward knife arch.
Right. And full extension. Don't pull back early. That whip only happens on a non-striking thrust, by the way.
Ah, okay. Now the cut. He says it's based on the thrust.
Fundamentally, if a full thrust misses, that natural whip action of the arm retracting becomes the cut. He details 2 main types.
Vertical and horizontal. Let's do the vertical cut first.
Okay. It starts like a thrust, but ends abruptly. Thumb up, nails left. It's a fast, long-range slash.
How does the blade move?
Whips down, forward, then up. One fluid motion. Great for targeting extended arms, hands, fingers.
And the Bowie blade design helps here. That clip point.
Significantly enhances the ripping, hooking action. You can do a lot of damage quickly.
Okay, the horizontal cut.
That's more like an unfulfilled normal thrust. Blade sweeps straight across, then back.
Good against crouching opponents. Hits the head or face.
Often presents itself that way, yeah. And again, that whip action means one thrust can give you 2 cuts across and back.
He also mentions a specific hand cut for knife fighting. Different from the bayonet one.
Yeah, this one targets their knife hand. A deep slice weakens their grip, makes it hard for them to use their weapon. Ideally, sever fingers. cripple their offense.
A skilled duelist might even go for that first.
Potentially decisive, yeah.
And he really stresses practice for cuts, even starting with just your hand.
Get the feel for the whip motion first. Extend your fingers, use the edge of your hand like a blade. Practice thrusting and stopping short, feeling that whip.
Then add the wrist action for closer targets.
Right. His practice tips are key. No wrist movement at first. Learn the full arm action. Retract immediately after a simulated cut. Keep the blade aimed at the throat otherwise. Practice till it's clean. No messy circles at full extension. Start with the hand. Work out elbow stiffness. Fluidity is key.
What about defense in knife fighting? In cortada or out of line again?
Same principle as with the bayonet. Defensive footwork to get your body out of the attack line.
How's it executed here?
From the guard, knees bent. You do a full thrust, but simultaneously pivot your torso hard. Free arm whips back for momentum. Use your rear leg power to pivot on the front leg, landing at an angle.
They go flying past.
Their momentum carries them past where you were, leaves them open for a counter.
And attacking from the rear or flank.
He suggests a straight thrust to the throat, full edge, then immediately draw back, snapping the edge across the throat again. 2 cuts, quick succession.
Brutal efficiency. He comes back again to distance, especially with that Bowie knife advantage.
Knowledge saves blood, he says. Review the guard, thrust, cut. And if someone's charging you...
Confidence in your guard stance is the primary mental attack.
Exactly. That readiness can actually deter a wild charge, buy you that vital fraction of a second to assess and react.
How do you size up your opponent?
Judge their effective range. How are they holding the blade? What's their stance? Right hand, left foot forward. Might telegraph their attack direction. Overhand or underhand grips limit reach compared to a saber grip. He notes, many fighters worldwide favor that left foot forward stance, even if it's flawed according to fencing principles.
So how do you maintain safe distance?
Rule of thumb, stay at least 1 full thrust length away from their nearest bit. Arm, foot, whatever.
Allows you to snipe with cuts while staying relatively safe.
Exactly.
What if they advance on you, try to close that distance?
Use those bent knees, quick steps back, rear foot first, or forward front foot first. Keep adjusting, maintain that safety bubble.
But be wary if they look like a skilled duelist.
Yeah, if they adopt a proper stance, they'll likely stay just out of your reach deliberately. No easy targets.
So strategies against someone skilled.
Increase distance even more, almost hand-to-hand range. Target their hands first, they're usually closest. Maybe use some fencing footwork to draw them in.
Attack when they're least alert, like during their own attack.
Or when they're moving off balance. It all comes down to distance and timing. Mastery of those two.
He defines technique, then, as more than just moves.
It's combining the principles with the best application for that specific situation. Using every trick you know to get your blade in. It's skill honed by practice, adapted to you.
And the key targets in knife fighting.
Their knife hand, first off. Then heart, throat, chest, even the back inboard thrust, pump handle motion. But really, any target is good to start. The kill is the ultimate goal.
He also describes an advanced move. Passata Soto.
Yeah, an alternative to a frontal attack or the out-of-line move. You bend your torso low and left.
Get under their guard.
And thrust into their lower right chest or abdomen. Good against someone who raises their right arm high, can combine it with a left step.
Or use it as a feint.
Exactly. Draw their blade low, then strike their hand, forearm, head, even kneecap.
Finally, selecting your fighting knife. What's crucial?
Stout blade, quality steel, bend, don't snap, holds an edge, 7 to 10 inches long, Bowie shape is ideal.
Balanced handle.
Weight about equal to the blade, balance point near the guard, comfortable grip. And a secure scabbard for easy draw vertical on the right thigh is preferred.
He ends the section reminding us.
It's ugly business, hope you never need it, but confidence in these skills gives you a chance to survive. A sobering thought.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, moving to unarmed combat. Styers contrasts American fair fighting with battlefield necessity. Unfair fighting for survival. He's blunt.
Very. Lack of knowledge of dirty fighting is a major disadvantage, he argues. His core belief, your best defense is a good offense.
What stance does he recommend for unarmed?
The knife fighter stance, again, right foot forward. Good for mobility, thrusting attacks, wheeling strikes, that out-of-line pivot.
Is there a variation?
Yeah, a diagonal one. Weight on the rear foot, forward arm up, protecting the face, body leaned back slightly. Good for long-range kicks, followed immediately by close-in elbow or hand smashes.
He really emphasizes developing your plans of attack.
Yeah.
Mental prep.
Absolutely. Have a mental library of simple, direct, Prearranged attacks for different situations. Choose and execute instantly, no hesitation.
Like swimming once learned, never forgotten.
That's his analogy. And use whatever's around: sticks, stone, dirt. React to their stance, their attack. Keep it simple, direct, exploit weaknesses.
Switch plans if the first fails. Aim for a decisive blow.
Always. End it quickly.
Primary targets for unarmed.
Throat, groin, eyes. Top priority. Hitting other areas weakens them, creates openings for those primary shots. Use hands, fists, fingers, thumbs, elbows, knees, feet, everything.
Let's break down the attacks. He starts with distraction.
Simple, but potentially effective. The second they're in range, throw whatever you can grab: dirt, belt, helmet, coins, right in their face. Startle them, disrupt focus.
Then attacks from the knife guard position, even without a knife. First, the thrust attack.
If their arms are low or spread, exposing their head, launch a straight thrust hand, fist, fingers right at their face or throat. Mimic the knife thrust. If they're close and open, they likely won't block it. Hit hard, follow through immediately.
Variations include fist to face, extended fingers to throat, double knuckles to throat, spread fingers to eyes.
Yes, depending on the opening.
And the crucial next step is the follow-through of the thrust attack.
Absolutely critical. Immediately close in. Use all your weapons on any opening. If there's no opening, create one. Batter them relentlessly.
They can't protect everything it left: throat, groin, eyes.
Impossible. Force the attack, keep them off balance. You dictate the targets. Use the heavy artillery elbows, sides of fists, knees, feet, forehead. Wheeling pivots help maintain pressure.
What if they go down but are still fighting?
Finish it decisively. Toe kicks, heel stomps, neck, groin, lower ribs, joints, muscles. Vigorous stomp or kick to the neck, or a knee drop. Safer than hand attacks on the ground, he says.
He lists some possibilities if the fight continues close in.
Right. Stay close. Throat grabbed. Wheeling elbow breaks the grip. Grabbed low. Smash up at their head neck with fists, hand edges, elbows, head high. Smash or thrust the throat. Dangerous hold. Break a finger, crush windpipe, smash groin. Keep hands moving to vital spots. Groin is always reachable.
Briefly out of reach.
Kick groin, lower ribs, throat, back exposed. Leap on, double arm strangle with a leg scissors hold. Hands free, ears in range. Double slack to the ears, concussion effect.
He details the wheeling attack, crediting boxer Bob Fitzsimmons.
Yeah, good if your straight thrust is blocked by extended arms. Pivot in the direction they face, left or right. Breaks their defense, spins them.
How's that?
From guard, right foot forward, right hook to chin, step right foot outside their left, follow through low to their left, rip back up with right elbow, left fist, slam solar plexus or groin. Follow up left punch to chin, maintain balance throughout.
What about a long-range unarmed option? The foot attack.
Your main long-range strike, rear back, weight on your foot, right hand raised defensively. As they enter range, thrust kick horizontally, knee or groin target.
Follow through with the wheeling attack.
Immediately raise arm blocks. A proper kick snaps back quick, prevents leg grab. Against a knife. Good way to keep distance. If they slash your leg, counter with backhand smash to head.
He expands on weapons beyond just limbs, using anything available.
Right. But let's cover the natural ones first. The head. Forehead, back of head is battering rams. Danish kiss with the forehead. The elbows. Reinforced, devastating close range. The hands. Huge variety.
Yeah.
Extended fingers as knife point for throat. Spread fingers for eyes. Doubled knuckles for stronger thrust. Throat, solar plexus, kidneys, groin. Edge of hand like an axe. Neck, kidney use body power, not wrist. Heel of hand, locked wrist, chin, solar plexus, chest uppercut. Edge of fist for pounding, neck, groin. Thumbs, fingers for probing. Eyes, throat base, underjaw. Prying fingers to break, 2 thumbs to windpipe. Palm slap, face base to skull, double ear slap to drop them.
The knees.
Powerful battering rams, groin, head, knee drops on downed opponent. The feet. Broad length for ramming knee. Point for neck chest joints, downed. Heel for instep stomp or back kick. Shin, knee, groin.
Practical notes on improvising.
Small rock in fist adds weight, impact. Small stick or rolled paper tightens the fist, makes it more solid, reinforces the blow.
Okay, targets in unarmed. 2 primary initial targets.
Throat and groin. Highest probability of quick incapacitation leading to finishing the fight. Attacking other targets weakens resistance, creates openings for these primary shots.
Let's detail those targets. The neck.
Prime target. Blows to front can fracture windpipe, cause choking black death. Angle shot damages vessels nerves, causes unconsciousness. No bone protection in front. Attack front with hand fingerage of hand fistle bow smashes. Back of neck. Fistage of hand smashes at base of skull.
Groin.
Attack with everything, but it's instinctively guarded.
Yeah.
Don't rely on kicks unless you're sure it's unprotected.
The head.
Elbow, fist, heel of hand to chin. Hook behind head, knee to face, edge open hand to base of skull, close in. Fingers to eyes, 2 fingers up nostrils. Brutal.
Rib cage.
Close in, smash with elbows, fists, sneeze, head, feet, lower front ribs, hit solar plexus, liver, lower back ribs, injure kidneys, upper stomach, solar plexus for knockout, follow up if they're down.
To joints.
Break small ones, fingers, bend wrong way. Attack large ones with blows, instep, kneecap, stomp, kick. Ankle, knee, fingers, wrist, elbow, neck are all good targets. Knee drop safer for neck on downed opponent.
Large muscles.
Fist knuckle stow, kick stomps to forearms, biceps, calves, thighs, inflicts pain, temporary disability.
He finishes unarmed combat, emphasizing 3 critical elements.
Yes. First, confidence from know-how and practice. Second, stay loose, relaxed until the moment you strike. Third, hit fast and hard. Press the attack relentlessly.
All right, next section. The stick. Styers says a nightstick is more versatile than just for clobbering.
Definitely. Useful even if you're unarmed, but find a stick, swagger stick, broom handle, umbrella, rolled magazine. Anything works.
He breaks it down to 2 main techniques, short end and long end. Credits the short end technique largely to a Colonel Kengla.
Right. Let's start with the short end technique. First, the grip.
Like a knife grip. Fingers around, about 3 inches protruding forward. Realistic stick lies along the inside of your forearm.
Okay. The stance?
Boxer's stance, recommended left foot forward if you're right-handed, good balance, offensive capability,
And the attack itself.
piston-like whip along the forearm, thrusting that short end into the target. He highlights the solar plexus blow as a potential fight ender.
Exactly. Boxer stance, stick on forearm, drive it straight into the solar plexus, stepping forward with the right foot for power. Should end it right there.
What if that misses or gets blocked?
Immediately whip the long end left with your wrist. Catch it with your left hand, palm down. Now you have a horizontal bar at your midsection.
And use that bar.
Drive it up under their chin, miss that, smash down across their nose on the way down, then thrust the short end straight to nose, teeth, throat. Relentless.
What about closing the distance? To move in.
Release the left hand grip, stick goes back along the right forearm, left hand grabs their clothing, right shoulder, maybe pull them close.
Then smash with the short end.
Repeatedly. Groin, solar plexus, ribs, chin, whatever's open. If direct targets are blocked, swing wider temple, ear, jaw, neck side, lower ribs. Cumulative pain adds up.
He mentions the pivot punch, outlawed boxing move.
Yeah, like a right hook to the jaw, but the elbow point connects. Stick along the arm protects the elbow. Wheeling body motion for power. Don't pull the punch.
And if that fails?
Back smash with the right elbow, then hook the stick around their neck with a wrist flick. Left hand grabs the long end.
Creates the death triangle.
Stick and crossed arms on their throat. Squeeze shut. Reverse from behind for silent sentry takedown stick across front of throat. Arms cross behind neck. Squeeze windpipe. Control pressure.
How about blocking with the short end technique?
To block a kick, whip the long end to the left hand, form the bar, snap it down onto their shin, follow immediately with chin smash sticks already in position.
Overhand, underhand blows.
Smash the bar straight out or bash their arm aside. Always follow through at any opening created by the block.
Upswinging blow.
Bar straight out to meet their wrist forearm, draw your trunk back, and after any block, immediate follow through. Smash forehead, shin, throat with the short end.
Okay, now the long end technique. Wielding it like a knife.
Pretty much. The grip. Hold it a few inches from the back end. Leaves a bit protruding behind for close clubbing or rear attacks. Long end forward.
Point and elbow in a straight line.
For thrusting power, like a knife. The stance. Knife fighter stance. Point aimed at opponent, ready to thrust. Targets, throat, face, solar plexus.
How is the attack different with the long end?
If you just have a club, he says, sharpen both ends first. Since it has no edge, you whip it at target's temple, neck, shoulders, joints, muscles. Use the points for thrusts.
Can you form the bar?
Yeah, quick right wrist flick, knuckles up on both hands now. Use the bar for smashing. Or release either hand to whip the stick.
Specific attacks.
Thrust point to solar plexus, left arm wicks back for power, slash long end like a sabre at joints muscles. Convert to bar with wrist flick, good, non-aggressive but ready stance.
Striking sides or rear?
Strike right side, release left hand, strike left side, release right hand, attack rear. Hook stick around throat with arm, cross other arm, grab stick, snap the triangle, same as short end.
And they come along for police work.
Whip stick between legs, across thighs, lift up, push collar, moves resistant people quickly, keeps them off balance.
He touches on police work, specifically non-aggressive stance.
Short stick, grasp near front, long end down, short end up, thumb inside thigh. Looks innocent, but ready to whip up to forearm for midsection strike if needed. Use necessary force only.
Middle grip for escorting? Come along. Horizontal bar stance.
Bar stance looks relaxed but ready to strike. Hand, forearm, elbow, knee, shin. Opponent unsure where attack comes from. Useful for cops, late-night walkers, infantry. Stick is versatile, not just for head bashing, though that's an option too.
Our final section is a bit different. Knife throwing. He starts kind of nostalgic about vaudeville throwers.
Yeah, evokes that lost art. Palace Theater closing. The fascination with sticking a knife, the glamour of the act. Then he gets practical.
3 methods. End over end, point first, overhand. Let's start with end over end. Most accurate, quick to learn.
That's what he claims. The grip. Right forearm parallel to ground, fist knuckles up. Knife vertical between thumb and forefinger, cutting edge forward if single-edged.
Okay.
Straighten forefinger along blade flat. Adjust till fingertip is even with the point. Clamp with thumb. Blade stays vertical to forearm.
Left the throw.
Pistol shooter stance, right foot forward. Extend right arm fully towards target, knuckles up. Blade vertical, wrist locked straight. Draw blade back to right side of head, NO, wrist bend. Keep knife vertical. Thrust arms straight at target. Let blade leave hand naturally. Fast action. No deliberate wrist action.
Arm stops abruptly. Natural fist whip.
Right. Velocity and weight make it leave uniformly. Should get consistent results quickly if distance is right. Mark that distance. Later, you'll just see the range.
Guide for distance. About 12-inch knife.
Stand 6 feet away, 34 turn. Handle down on impact, too close, move back. Handle up too far, move forward. Master short range first, double distance. Add 1 foot for 114 turn only after mastering short range.
Don't need a balanced throwing knife.
He says no. Ice picks, bayonets, letter openers, anything with a point can be thrown. Each has its own range. Balanced knife is like match ammo, helps, but not essential to learn.
Okay, the point first method. Frontiersmen, gamblers. Close range, exact distance less critical as knife doesn't turn.
Exactly. The grip. Right forearm parallel, fingers extended joined, palm UP, wrist straight. Handle and palm, point aligned with elbow. Secure with thumb pressure on handle. Left foot forward. Draw knife well back, maintain alignment, straight wrist. Rifle the blade forward with forearm whip. SM knife forearm straight, no O for finger wrist whip. Let blade leave naturally by releasing thumb pressure.
Don't shovel it too high. Reduces velocity.
Right. Proper release level about 8 inches below belt. Don't push from horizontal draw. Poise, 12 inches behind body. Forearm blade almost vertical, point down. Rifle, straight to target. No finger wrist. Full arm follow through helps control.
Practice. Start close.
Very close. Point up on target. Handle down. Finger wrist whip or late release. Point down, handle up. Early release. Handle right left. Initial misalignment. Heavy blade preferred. Smooth handle. No set ranges. Aim for straight. Fast flight. Master sticking it, then move back to spot errors. Slight errors show more at distance.
Any wrist action fouls accuracy. Knife leaves horizontal.
Absolutely. Keep that wrist straight.
Finally, the overhand method. Greatest velocity. Pierced to truck body. Wow.
That's the claim. The grip. Like knife fighting grip. Fingers around handle. Thumb on top. Saber hold. The throw. Like throwing a baseball. Left foot forward. Full overhand swing. Right step follow through. No intentional WHB.
Adjust knife grip distance to your natural throw.
Yes. Inconsistent. Probably unnecessary wrist snap. Natural wrist snap as part of the throw is okay. Wind up like baseball. Handle slips smoothly. Blade makes 1 full turn.
12-inch knife at 12 feet for 1 turn. But find your own range.
Exactly. Smooth handle advised. Bayonet. Hold handle flat, knob left, edge left, thumb top. Flat side, slip along fingers. Still inconsistent. Check swing and wrist. Full overhand, full follow through.
Safety precautions essential. Ricochet is dangerous.
Absolutely critical. Knife throwing can be fun, but it's dangerous. He gets philosophical again. Point first, frontiersman gone, Palace Theater reopened. Maybe end over end rebirth, always television.
Final point on throwing.
Complete throw with full natural follow through. Once range found, focus on accuracy.
Wow. Okay. That was quite a deep dive. Incredibly intense stuff. Bayonet, knife, unarmed, stick, throwing. The detail is staggering.
It really is. What's striking is the almost scientific way Styers breaks down these incredibly brutal personal encounters, principles of leverage, momentum, targeted violence. It shows this grim logic, even in chaos.
Yeah, makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How these core principles, understanding opponent, exploiting weakness, decisive action, even though applied here to something so visceral.
That relate elsewhere, to other kinds of conflict or challenge.
Exactly. Even in our modern world, with all the tech, these seemingly old-school techniques from cold steel gives such a stark personal view on conflict, on self-preservation.
Which really brings up a final thought for you, the listener. What specific part of this deep dive resonated most strongly with you? And what might that suggest about how you view confronting opposition, whatever form that takes in your own life?